Boiling over after a marathon 13-hour session. In fact, the day going so long, the lights eventually went out. Watch.
Has been filtered through the arguments of counsel.
I didn't.
I think that's a signal to me, Your Honor.
No, I didn't
you.
touch it. The lights automatically go off at a certain time in the courthouse. Is there a way that we could get them back on in the courtroom?
Well, when the clock hit 8 p.m., an automatic timer actually turned the lights off, as you see, leaving everybody in the dark. After that, signs of exhaustion showing as attorneys traded accusations over withheld evidence, which led to this.
Because Mr. West said I would offer him the opportunity right now to apologize to me for suggesting that I stood by silently with information that I did not have.
I'm not getting into this. Court is in recess. I will give my ruling in the morning. I'll see you at 8 o'clock in the morning. Court is in recess. It is 9:56. No, court is in recess. Thank you very much. With all due respect, we'll see you at 8 in the morning. Well, at 8 in the morning, the issue is Mr. Donnelly, who may have violated, or counsel has informed the court that you know that he violated the rule of sequestration. That's the second time today that I've heard that there's been a violation of the rule of sequestration by the witnesses. I don't want to take that up at 9 o'clock and have the jury sit out there and wait like they did today. We will be in recess until 8 in the morning. And so have I.
Not being able to prepare or get my witnesses gathered for tomorrow, and I can't do it tonight.
I'll see you at 8 in the
I'm
morning.
not physically able to keep up this pace much longer. It's 10 o'clock at night. We started this morning. We've had full days every day. Weekends, depositions at night.
You see Mark O'Mara kind of step over and say, all right, just settle it down here. The judge walked out, as you can see. Attorneys were still trying to talk over her as she walked out of the room. Phil Keating, live from the courthouse in Sanford, Florida. Boy, Phil, what happened last night?
Tempers are certainly flaring here as we're nearing the end of the second-degree murder trial, one of the most highly watched trials around the country right now. George Zimmerman in the courtroom right now, but the judge, Deborah Nelson, actually things went so late last night, instead of starting today at 8 a.m., they're now starting at 9 a.m. and critical rulings by this judge, which really could impact how this all-female jury feels about the character of Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman and what they believe happened as they head into the deliberations room, perhaps happening as early as Friday. Looking live, not live, but last night in that courtroom, typically the gallery is full of spectators, and it has been for the past 11 days, 2.5 weeks of trial. Last night, just an empty room for the most part, but the attorneys, well, they argued and argued and argued some more. For about 5 total hours yesterday, attorneys bantered and focused specifically on a defense-produced animation showing the final minute or so of Trayvon Martin's life. After prosecutors objected that the images are misleading and based on assumptions, the animation is now more like a series of still graphics, and the controversial scene of Martin punching Zimmerman with the first punch has now been edited out. Zimmerman's attorneys also want to show the jury photos and texts mined from Martin's cell phone, pictures of pot plants and a handgun. But at one point last night, Judge Deborah Nelson really sounded skeptical on this, noting that anybody could have accessed his phone, taken the photos, and typed the text. Text such as, "Man, why you always fighting? I lost the first round, but I won the second and third. And nah, he breathed enough for me," or bleed enough for me is what he intended, "only his nose." The defense wants to show that Trayvon Martin, an unarmed 17-year-old when he encountered Zimmerman, had a propensity for fighting. In fact, was quite eager to get into fights. Prosecutors say it unfairly attacks the 17-year-old's character, and what happened on his phone and texts in the days leading up to what happened with Zimmerman is wholly irrelevant. And lastly, things went so late last night that for the first time in more than a year, George Zimmerman was allowed to be out past his 10 p.m. curfew. That's one of the bond arrangements for him to be not living inside the prison, but at home with an ankle monitor. So Zimmerman had a little later night than he's typically allowed to on the public streets.
Yeah, boy, those are really important issues to resolve with the graphics and the animation and all of that. Also, Phil, a defense witness from Monday, we understand, could be impeached.
Yeah, that could happen first thing this morning. That is John Donnelly, an old war veteran and a friend of George Zimmerman. In fact, he and his wife on the stand Monday testifying after listening to that infamous 911 call with the screams in the background. They said, without a doubt, that was not Trayvon Martin, but Zimmerman, and that clearly benefited the defendant.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that is George Zimmerman. And I wish to God I did not have that ability to understand that.
Nothing further.
Shortly after that, prosecutors then discovered Donnelly appears to have violated the witness sequester rules by attending court the second day of this trial, sitting right there behind Zimmerman in the gallery listening to testimony, 1 week before taking the stand himself. Now, in anticipation that a verdict, which could happen in really just a matter of days, could be unpopular in certain parts, while the Broward County Sheriff has now met with local pastors in South Florida, trying to come up with a contingency plan, not in anticipation of anything specifically that they're expecting, but, quote, just to be prepared. Keep in mind, Trayvon Martin was from South Florida, Miami Gardens in Miami-Dade County. Martha.
Boy, we'll see. All right, Phil, thank you very much. We'll see you later.